Hmm. Okay, let's start. So, anyone has any idea what regression is? Someone in our class was from stats background, if I'm not wrong, right? Now they will not speak. Okay, not a problem. See, I just wanted. Okay, see, regression. Before I go ahead and explain it in details, I just want to continue our conversation where we left. So we started from variance, right? Then covariance, then correlation, and then we have regression. So basically, here we were dealing with one variable, here two variable, direction of relationship, right? Here two variable, direction plus strength. Okay, here direction, strength plus explainability also, right? What is that explainability? That is how change in one variable attributes to change in another. Clear? Understanding this point? We have already discussed this. I am just reminding you. And this is the regression that we are going to study here. Though we are calling it linear regression, we are coming to that. Okay, we are coming to that. But regression is what will give you the direction of relationship, strength also, and in a way it will also give you how change in one variable will attribute to the change in another variable. Is it clear till now?
Yes.
Now in
So,
regression,
Dhruv, so can we say regression is more detailed way of
yes,
correlation?
yes. So for any relation, as you can say, this will give you much better point of view of any relationship. Clear? Now, what is a regression? Let's say if I have a historical data present. What is historical data? Data from the past. Correct?
Yes.
Let's say if I'm talking about a data of last 1 year, that is called historical data, right? What is my future data? If I'm predicting for future, that means obviously I'll get some value, but can I validate it? No, I cannot, because I don't, no one can have future values. Yes or no? Actual future values. Obviously, data science can give you predicted values, but actual values can you get? You will only get once the time is over. And that is the reason I'm naming it as historical data, which is for past data available. Right? If I'm using historical data and somehow I'm using it to predict, right? Predict my future values, future data or future values, right? Correct? So what am I doing here? What am I doing here?
Forecasting.
No, that is obviously there, but I'm just thinking, can you relate it to something? Let's say, right? Let's say I have, I am telling you that, okay, let's say if I am telling you that from, let's say, historical data, I have found out that let's say I'm talking about price of something, right? The price of, let's say, house, right? House price prediction is one of the popular data set available for machine learning. So that is the reason I'm just taking this. You can take price of anything. So let's say from historical data, that means from last 1 year data, you are seeing that the price of house is dependent upon its size. Correct? This is true. Correct? If higher the size of the any house, more will be the price.
Yes.
So let's say price is directly proportional to what? Size. Can I say?
Yes.
Now, if I have to equate it, what I have to do? I have to put some constant.
Correct.
This is what I can do. See, this is all example. This is not real thing I'm talking about. Now I have somehow found out what is that constant. Let's say I'm saying that what is the size of house usually? Tell me, what is the usual size of a 2 BHK? 1000 square feet.
1000.
Right? And what is the price of a usual 2 BHK? Let's say 80 lakhs, at least in
1 CR.
right? Now, what is, so if I have to write it in a way, so like this, right? So this K is 8,000. Yes or no?
Yes, correct.
Correct.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is, in a way, I'm saying is price is almost 8,000 times of the size. First of all, what we have established, that it is directly proportional. Then I have said that obviously if it is directly proportional, then there would be a direct relationship. Correct? Now I have found out from my historical data that usually it is 8,000 times the size. Any confusion?
No.
Till here. Bolo, any confusion?
No.
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 Now let's say if I give you, if I give you a new size, can you give me a price?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's say if I give you, now I want 1500 square feet. Correct? What will you do?
1500 into constant.
Into
Constant.
8,000.
8,000.
To 8,000.
this would be the approximate price of the house for which the size is this one. Correct?
One. One.
What if I tell you that you have already predicted the price of the home? This is as simple as that. This is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. But currently what we are seeing is price is only dependent upon size.
Yes, yes.
But let's say price now is not only dependent upon size. Price is also dependent upon, let's say,
Area.
Location.
Area, location.
quantitative. Let's look at quantitative things, right? Number of rooms,
Rooms.
right? What other things? It is also directly proportional to number of balcony, right? Also number of washrooms, right? Okay.
In which floor you bought?
Yeah. So floor number. So see, if we go one by one, so you can consider many things. We are not here to list everything, but my point is, see, now if I give you all these things, manually it would be very tough to generalize. Here what we have done, we have generalized only, right? Generalize ही किया है ना यार.
Yes.
But now if I ask you to generalize, it is manually very difficult to generalize. And that is the reason we take help from maths. Correct? We take help from maths in a way that we want to generalize anything that is there. Okay. Now let's talk about this. Okay. Mathematically, let's talk. You got the idea, right? Let's talk some mathematics. Okay. So what I mean to say is, let's say if I have okay, this was the size and this was the price, correct? Now I'm saying that both are directly proportional or positively correlated. That means if size is increasing, price is also increasing. Yes, no?
Yes.
Let's say this is square feet. In square feet I am writing. So let me draw. Okay, so there is this data. Okay, something like this. Okay, these are some 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, let's say 8 9 10. Okay, these are some data points in which I have what I have done. This value is available. I have the size also, price also. Now let's say a new variable. If I want to predict, if you tell me that there is a new data input in which I know the size, can you tell me the price? So what I'll have to do, I have to generalize. So we are on that question again, but now mathematically. What we are trying to do is, we are trying to find out, or we are trying to generalize, right? So what I'll do is, I'll somehow try to build a line, right? Or a generalized line in which I will try to, justify all the points, or all the points means relation only, right? Points mean so what I mean to say is, every point determines if this is the size of that home, what is the price, or if that is the price, what is the size. Yes, no? Every point is telling you that only, yes or no?
Yes.
So what, in a way, if I have to generalize it, I can build multiple lines that can explain this relation. Multiple lines. Correct? Multiple lines. Now, out of that multiple lines, okay, multiple, how would I come to know? I have to find out best fit line. Remember this line, this word, basically, this phrase, best fit line. What is the best fit line? Which is closer to the maximum points.
Yeah.
That means the line which is able to generalize more points, which passes through more points. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
This is in your mind, which is not 100% true, but we are in the right direction. Correct? Everyone on it?
Right.
Okay,
Yes, yes, sir.
let's break it down to 3 cases. Let's break it down to 2 or 3 cases. And then let's see what I'm trying to talk about. Let's say case 1. Okay. Now let's talk about, let's say I'm talking about case 1, right? Now, one line at a time I'll consider. Okay, one line at a time. I have to delete everything or what? That is the problem. Just give 1 moment. I don't want to redraw. Okay. Or the reason I don't want to redraw is not that I am lazy, which I am, but otherwise, this will look different, which I don't want. I want to look it similar in a way, but without that all the dotted line. I just want it to be like one dotted line. Okay, let's say something like that. Okay, so we have one more point here. Okay, let me copy it and save it further. Okay, now let's say that I'm talking about case 1. What is case 1? Case 1, the same points were there. Yes, no?
Yes.
See, today you have to respond back on every point because this is the new thing that we are entering. Okay, I want a response from everyone. Okay, if you are able to understand. Okay, now let's say what I'm saying is here we were seeing that I can draw multiple lines. In case 1, I'm just taking one line. Let's say just for the sake of simplicity, I draw any line. You tell me, should I draw like this or should I draw like this? Anywhere or in between. Tell me, I'll draw.
In between.
In between.
We
Okay, we'll come to that. That is a good thing to do, but let's say I am doing something wrong. Okay, I am doing like this. Okay, so we should have used another color. Okay, just for the point. You said in between, you were correct, but I just want to start from some kind of error, right? So see, is it a best fit line?
No.
How do you know that this is not a best fit line?
Only
It is-
3 points are there.
Is not covering maximum.
Because maximum points are not covered in the plan.
Correct. Now you are on the right track. Now, in other words, can I say that if it misses all the points, then the distance between that point and the line is nothing but error?
Yes.
Yes.
Missing means I'm not touching that point. Correct? Now, what I mean to say is, let's say if a line passes through all the points, what will be the error?
0.
0.
What will be the error? 0, right?
Mm.
So that is the best fit line in a way for that set of points. But is it possible for our set of points, the error to be 0?
No.
No.
But my aim should be
No.
that best fit line will give me wherever error is minimum, if not 0. Correct?
Yes.
Now, what I'll do is, as you said, I'll pass through somewhere midpoint. Okay. Now there is this error, 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 right? Now all these errors are there. Now what is the total error, right? Total error, summation of distance from all the points which it has missed. Or in fact, even if it is passing, the distance is 0. I'll count that point also, yes, no?
Yes.
So what is my aim here? Best fit line. And what is the definition of a best fit line?
Summation of error.
Summation of error should be minimum.
Right? Error should be minimum. Summation of error is I weigh I have defined the error in a way that it is a summation. That is distance between all the points and the line, right? So if you have to find out the error, you have to do the summation. So not going into that detail, but you are correct. Okay. Is it clear? So in that way, if I have to find the best fit line out of, infinite lines, only one line I can choose. Yes, no?
Yes.
Minimum can only be one, right?
Yes.
Even if it is more than one with a similar value, you will, even if you choose one, doesn't make much a difference. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? Let's see if another line also gives the same error, exactly same, right? Up till 95 decimal points, let's say. Then out of those two lines, you can choose anyone. Correct?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Coming on to the very important part. Now, this is very important question. Now, tell me one thing. How will we perceive error? How will we perceive error? Let's see if this is 1 unit. This is 2 units. So how will I do? So let's see if I have to, I'm just giving you one clue. Let's say if I'm telling that the error here is 1, this is 2, this is 2.5, this is, let's say, 2.8, this is 1.5, right? This is obviously 0. This here it is किसके बराबर है यार? Here 1.9, let's say, and this is again 2.3, something like that. Okay, what is the total error here? You will say it is nothing but the summation 1 plus 2 plus 2.5 plus 1.5 plus 2.8 plus 0 plus 1.9 plus 2.3. So that is the error of this particular line. What I'll do, I'll equate with the error of the another line, which is this. Now tell me if it is again 1, this is 2.5, this is, let's say, 2.8, this is 2.9, this is 1.7, okay, this is 2.3, okay, this is 0.9, and this is 0.3, okay. What will be the error? Total error or error, what you say? What will be the error here?
1 plus 2.5
Plus 2.5 plus 2.8 plus 2.9 plus 1.7
Minus
minus 0.3 minus 0.9 minus 2.3.
Is this a correct interpretation?
But why is it in minus?
No, I'm asking you. I haven't saying that this is the thing. I'm saying that is it a correct interpretation that we are subtracting on the other side?
No, because in that case it will become 0 in certain cases.
Correct. So you don't have to consider the sign of the distance. Obviously, let's say if I'm talking about how far I am from you, you will say that, let's say, 50 kilometers. Then I'll ask someone else that, okay, how far he is from me. He will say that 50 kilometers, but in reverse direction. That is minus 50. Correct? But the distance, in a way, is 50, still 50. Correct?
Yes.
Yes or no? So in that way, the magnitude we have to consider. Someone said that, let's say if we had only 3 points, one is plus 2, another one is plus 2, and another one is 4, but in this direction, if we just, and this line passes, right? So it will add up to what? 0. Total error would be 0, which is not a correct scenario, because this 0 means it is passing through all the 3 points. Is this the case here?
no.
So that means whenever we are considering the error in finding out the best fit line, we have to consider the magnitude of the error. It doesn't matter in which direction it goes. Is it clear? So point by point we are going. We have established this fact. Yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
Yes.
What is the equation of a line?
Y equal to mx plus
y
c.
equal to x plus b.
Yeah, so anything you can say, y is equal to mx plus c or y is equal to ax plus b. So I'll write in a format in which most of the people study. Okay, so there is no difference, but this is the equation of the line, right? What is this x?
X is the variable.
These
Points.
variables,
Variable.
right?
Yes.
Not these variables, but it
Points
is what
lying on.
belongs to the line, correct? Right? What is m?
The
Slope.
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 What is c?
Y-intercept.
Yeah. So intercept. In this case, what is the intercept?
0.
Hmm?
0.
0. Yes. Why? Because it passes y through 0.
Yes.
What is the use case of intercept? Let's say I'm saying that my sales is dependent upon advertisement. Correct? So let's say sales is equal to some constant and advertisement. Correct? So if we don't have intercept at 0 advertisement, what will be the sale?
0.
0.
So if advertisement is equal to 0, by our equation, the sales will also be 0.
0.
But it has seen that even the advertisement is 0, there is some sales, right?
Right.
For that reason only, we call it that there is some constant, so that even if there is no advertisement, then also there is some sales, and that is what we call baseline sales in the sales term, but constant in the terms of mathematics. You understand? That is the purpose of constant.
Right.
Understood? So mathematically understood. Now let's perceive it from the point of machine learning. Okay, there are three things here. Why is what we try to find out. Let's say if now I established that this is the best fit line, I have established there can be multiple more points, but let's say this is the line which is the best fit line. Okay, now what I am telling you is I'm giving you a new point. Can you tell me or sorry, not this point. How can I draw the point? Let's say x and this is y. Correct? Now I'm giving you a x. Can you give me y?
Yes.
If I give you x is equal to something, you can give me y, right? Because this can be generalized till infinity on the both side.
Yeah.
Bolo na? Yes, no.
Right.
If I give you any
Yes,
value
yes.
of x, you will find out by just going to that line, because that is the best fit line.
Yes.
Understood? Now imagine this. Is that the perfect answer that you are giving? Is that close 100% correct?
No.
Because it also has some error, right? We have generalized. Correct?
Yeah. Right.
As close to reality as possible.
Yes.
Right? So if I have to write it, how will I write it? What is our aim now? Our goal or aim is to find I'm writing 1 second, please. Our goal is to find statistically significant. What does this word mean? Statistically significant means we are saying that statistically equal. Yes or no? Right. So that is proper way of saying that we are telling that this is statistically equal. And statistically equal, you all know, means there may be a difference in between the predicted value and the actual value, then also it is fine. We are fine with having some error in our prediction.
Correct.
Correct? And that is what. So our goal is to find statistically significant values of what? Slope and intercept. M and C, basically this constant and C, or M and C. If I have M and C, obviously if you give me value of X, I can give you Y, yes or no? What is M? M is slope and C is what? Intercept. Intercept is nothing but value of Y at X is equal to 0. Yes or no?
Yes.
So our goal is to find a statistically significant value of slope and intercept that minimizes coming on to the next page, minimizes what? The difference between Y predicted and Y. Now you guys will tell me from our graph, what is Y predict, where is Y predicted and where is Y? So Y predicted, Y can be written as Y actual also. So predicted will always fall on our line, best fit line, because that is the generalized line.
Yes.
And real may fall either on the line, on the top, or on the bottom. If it falls on the line, that means error is 0. If it falls actual, if it falls on top or bottom, that means there is some error associated with that. Bolo na?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that error is the cost that we bear for prediction. We have to live with it. You understand? Correct?
Yes.
That is the performance of our model, right? If our model has performed, let's say if I'm saying that my accuracy of the model is, let's say, 90%, what is the error that my model can make?
10%.
10%.
So we have to live with it, yes or no? And we are fine with it. Statistically, we are fine. Why? Because at least we are getting 90%, yes or no? You got the
Yes.
central idea behind this? Bolo na.
Yes.
Oh, can you explain it again?
So you have to ask, then only see. Seems like I'm teaching and I'm guessing whether you are understanding or not. See, what I'm saying is, let me make the line again. Let's say that I had some data set from our training data, and now I have trained my model, and my model now know that this is the best fit line, which can extend in any direction. Line can extend in any direction, yes or no? So it can go to
Yes.
Yes.
this here also, right? Now why I am saying that Y is my target variable. Give me the value of X, I'll give you Y. So let's say if I give the value of X is equal to 5, what will you do? You will go and find out what is the value of Y at X is equal to 5 from equation Y is equal to MX plus C. How I got this equation is finding the minimum error, line with minimum error.
Yes.
Multiple line can pass,
Yeah.
infinite line can pass through all the points. You know this mathematically, but we have to find out only one line which has minimum error. Once we have found out that line, now if we have found out the line, we know the equation of that line also.
Yes.
If I know the
Yes.
equation of that line, that means we know M and C. and I have given you X. Can you give me Y? Yes, you can. give.
Yes.
If we see graphically, this is what the value of Y is.
Yes, yes.
5, 1.
Yes or no? Let's say I am saying that this is the value is Y dash. Y dash maybe 20 lakh, something like that. Okay. Now I got this value. This is my predicted value. What is this? This Y dash is my predicted value. But there would be actual value also.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
Remember, I told you that you have, if you split your data, you keep the Y variable aside so that you can match it with your model's prediction to see how much correct it has done. Correct?
Yes.
Now, what you will do, you will compare your predicted value to your actual value. So you don't only have one, you can have 1, 2, 50, 60 values of X. For all X values, you will see that what is my predicted value and what is my actual value. So I can write Y pred in one column and Y actual. So Y actual is usually written as Y because that is the actual value. So let's see if it has predicted 65, right? And Y actual is 68. What is the error?
3.
3.
So see, I'm just vaguely we are saying 3, but we have different error matrices. I'm coming to that, but for now just perceive. Okay. Let's say Y predicted is anything, right? In any other value, something Y actual. Let's say if it is 60 and this also gives 60. For this, what is the error?
0.
After that, in all the, let's say 80-20 split we did. So 20 we have testing data, right? And 80 we have training data. Let's say this thing will happen twice. For training also you will see how what is the performance. For knowing the performance, you need to compare. Your child has given the test. Now you need to evaluate his notebook in order to give him the score or her the score. Yes or no? That is what I'm
Yes.
doing here. Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, correct.
Okay. I'm just parking it here. We will be coming back on this, but I have to expand. You know, we need to go deeper into the knowledge of error. You understand? So what are the ways you think about the error? You will say, Dhruv, you have vaguely tell us that we have to take absolute value of the error. Correct? This is what I have told you. What is the another way? If see, what is my aim? My aim is to take always the positive. Can I do the square of all the error?
Yeah.
That can also be done. What is the another way? Fourth power. What else? Sixth power. That will also give me positive. Yes or no?
Yes.
But if square is anyways giving me positive value, why I need to go for more complexity? That is the reason I'm not going. So I'm rejecting these two. Now we have to just think about these two, right? Absolute or square. You will say that by this logic, we can reject square also because absolute is anyways fine for us.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
That should be the question in your mind, right? By this logic, we can reject the square also and take the absolute error the way we were anyways perceiving. But see, we have to go in depth. So there is a technique in mathematics which is called minima. How many of you know this? Maxima and minima. No one? Arey, I won't ask question. Just say yes or no. I promise I won't ask question.
We studied in school time, but on
11,
don't
12,
remember. Yes.
but no one will speak now. I won't ask
Hmm.
question. Then again, see, let me remind you. So why we chose to see, we can use absolute also. We use this also, but with in addition to this, we use square also. The reason is very simple. Let's say minima. If you guys have forgot, I'll tell you that when we talk about an error, error needs to be minimized. Correct? Now I want to know where my error is minimum. Right? So what I can do is I can differentiate the error and I can equate it with 0. So let's see if this is the error. Here the error is maximum. At this point, what will be the derivative? 0 hoga na? Slope is 0. Wait. See, I cannot teach you slope and all. You need to have at least thoda sa yaar thoda yaad to karna padega na. I cannot go in depth of all these things. Okay. Otherwise, our class is anyway slow and okay. See, what is the slope at any point? Let's see if this is parabola, right? If I want to find out the slope at this point, what will I do? I'll do the derivative at that particular point. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the minimum point? This is the minimum point. Why? Because let's say this is my error. Here it is minimum.
Yes.
Can you see where the error is minimum? My derivative is 0. What is derivative? Derivative is nothing but slope. So whenever I'll have the minimum error, my slope would be equal to 0.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Now let's say if I have the absolute error, what will be the derivative of an absolute error? It will always give me 0. But if I have square of error, I would be able to find out the derivative. What is derivative of x square? 2x, something like that. And now what you can do, once you have this type of equation, you can equate it with 0 because you want to know the minimum. So this will give you at what point, my error will be minimum is where this equation will satisfy. That will give me x is equal to 0. Let's say I'm talking about this. This is very simple, but if I have the square terms, it would be easier for us to know the point minimum. Is it possible if we take the absolute error?
No.
See, guys, I'm going a bit more back, but I cannot go beyond that. Otherwise I'll have to teach everything derivative and all, which is I cannot do. You understand? You have to revise it if you don't know. Okay, what I'm trying to talk about is what is this derivative of x with respect to x?
One.
So let's see if I have absolute. This is absolute, right? So can I know at which point this error will be minimum? I cannot, because the derivative is constant. I cannot equate it with 0. I know wherever derivative is minimum or 0, sorry, derivative is 0, that means that is the point of minima.
Yes, correct.
Either minima or maxima, but for now just assume that that is minima in our case. Okay, now consider another case. which is in the terms of square, what will be the value? 2x. X square, derivative of x
Yeah,
square
yeah.
is what? 2x?
2x, right?
2x.
See, I cannot help even if you don't know this. You have to go ahead and thoda sa search karo. Okay, everything would be remembered because I am pretty sure, irrespective of your background, bachelor's till 10th, 11th you have done. Okay, unless someone is from commerce, or even for commerce it is there. Derivative. Anyone from commerce background? No.
No.
Most of you are from maths. You should be able to know this. Now see, what is the difference between this and this? This I can equate with 0. This can I equate 1 with 0?
No.
Or
No.
4 with 0?
No.
If I equate with 0, I'll get the point at which the value gives me the derivative as 0. Understood? So that is the benefit of using the square of the error. Understood this point?
Yes.
Even if you don't know this, it's fine. I was just giving you conceptual understanding why we go for the square error. Okay, matrix. Okay, clear? Now,
Yes.
now if someone asks you at any point, again, I'm just going back. What is the error at any point? Y actual minus y predicted whole square. We have just established that we will take the square.
Yeah.
What is this? This is actual value. This is what? Predicted value.
Predicted value.
Where will predicted value lie? On the line. Where will actual value lie? Either on the line or on the top of the line or on the bottom of the line. Clear? If it lies on the line, the difference will be
0.
0.
if it lies either on the top or on bottom, since there is a square, the magnitude will be positive always. That means if you deviate still a bit from my best fit line, you will have an error associated with it, which is not zero. Okay. This
Yes.
particular error matrix, we call it SSR, and we name it as sum of square residuals. Obviously there is a sum because we have multiple points, as you said. Okay, so original minus predicted. Clear?
Yes.
Now all the algorithm that we are going to see in regression, right? Regression, linear regression algorithm, the main idea is what? Central idea is to reduce this error. If possible to make it 0, otherwise make it minimum. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. What is the time? 3. Okay. You want to take a break or you want to continue?
Break. Need to have lunch.
Okay. Can we take like 10 minutes and then we can take the break? Okay.
Okay.
Today's break would be a bit small because see, we are very behind the syllabus, but I'm not rushing. Okay, I'm not rushing because everyone needs to understand. Okay. Okay. Now see the algorithms we are going to see. The first one we are going to see is ordinary least square, right? And second one we are going to see is gradient descent. Don't worry, we are going into the depth of each and everything mathematically and programmatically also. No need to worry. Just concentrate here, okay? And revise everything after you go home, okay? Now see, here our aim is again to find the best fit line. correct? Best fit line. Ordinary least square. Least square means you see this should be minimum. Least square. Okay. And ordinary just name we are giving. Okay. Gradient descent. This is nothing but an stepwise technique. Stepwise technique. I'm coming on to the each of the detail. Okay. Now see, whenever we are trying to reduce the error, we always look at time complexity, space complexity, right? Then let's say if we have to, if we have enough time complexity available, and if we have enough time available, and if we have enough space available, right? What we can do is we can go ahead with gradient descent. Gradient descent means we will go through stepwise. We will try to reduce the error and reach the minimum of the error. Okay, one by one we are going. Okay, before that, let's talk about ordinary least square, and now I'll write OLS in short. Let's talk about this. One formula that all of you have to keep in mind without knowing the derivation is the least square is given by covariance of x and y upon variance of x, right? That is least square that is given. Now see, what does it mean? What is covariance of x and y? Covariance of x and y, if you remember, I told variance, not covariance, but variance of x with respect to y. Sorry, y with respect to x.
Yes.
Both the things are one and all the same, but let's try to keep dependent as dependent and independent as independent. That is the only purpose, right? If you remember covariance matrix, you were trying to find out, it gives you the direction, right? Covariance gives the direction, so anyways direction won't differ, correct? But since y is dependent upon x, that is the reason I'm writing y first and x later, correct? Now see here, if you're trying to find out how is y varying with respect to x, is it also varying with respect to itself at the same time? Yes, no. Whenever I'm trying to find out how is y variating with respect to x, at the same time x is also variating with respect to itself. हाँ नहीं बोलो यार.
Yes.
So there are two variables, x and y. I'm saying I want to find out how y is variating with respect to x. I said, and I try to find out using covariance of x and y. But at the same time, when I'm doing this, x is also variating with respect to itself.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
What is the covariance of any variable with respect to itself?
Variance.
Variance. And that is the reason we divide the effect of. So we can we say that covariance of x with respect to itself? Or in other words, this is nothing but variance of x. Hua na? Both the things are same. We have
Same,
gone into
yes.
the depth, right?
Yes,
That
correct.
is what we have defined it as, covariance of, that is what we have defined it as least square, right? So what I am telling that with variation of y with respect to x, right? X is also varying with respect to itself. Now, if I have to write down, if you remember, what was the formula? So x minus x bar into y minus y bar
Y bar. Yes.
upon n
Minus 1.
1 to n, right?
Yeah.
This was for covariance, right? What was the variance? Since it is for one variable, So that's
X minus X.
x and y are
Square.
both x only. So that will be square
Square.
upon n. Again, here will be the summation. So n will be gone. What will be the final formula? Final formula would be x minus x bar into y minus y bar, right, upon
X
x
minus
x
X
bar
bar square.
square. You can further reduce it. But let's keep it like this only.
Okay.
Let's keep it like this only.
Hmm.
Okay. Let's keep it like this only. This is what least square tells you. I said, okay, this is the least square that we are going to talk about. Okay. Now, what is the central idea behind this? Finding the best fit line with minimum error. What is the finding the best fit line with minimum error? So if you see, there can be lakhs of lines. Manually, it is impossible. But for an algorithm, based on how much time you have, it can give you kind of best fit line. Correct?
Hmm.
Let's say how it gives. Let me give you an example. Let's say it tries to go like this, and then automatically it switches here, right? It establishes that the best fit line, is in this range only, right? Now fluctuating in between this, right, and putting some you can say some cost associated or some punishment, right, associated with the wrong values, it tries to find out the best fit line. Now the central idea is same. You have to minimize the error. Now the step in how many steps that you are able to do is based on underlying algorithm, computer science algorithm that sklearn or any deep learning module uses. Clear? Understood? Okay. And I just want to relate it with everyday life so that you are never able to forget.
No, what if there are multiple variables, say x1, x2, x3? Can this be extended, this formula?
See, then what will happen? Your dimensions will increase. You are seeing it in 2 dimensions. Now the dimensions will increase. 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 9D, ND, right?
Yes.
So in 2 dimension, it is a plane. What will be it in 3 dimension? It will be a sheet kind of, or sorry, it is a line in 2 dimension. In 3 dimension, it will be a plane, right? Correct?
Yes.
In further dimension, we call it hyperplane, but generalization is same. You understand what I'm trying to say? Hello?
Sorry, so I was speaking on mute. So in real life, there will be multiple variables affecting y, right? So
So see, let's say there are when we spoke about 2 variable, we draw a line. Let's say if I have a three-dimensional variable, so and if I have, let's say assume that you are sitting in the room currently, you are studying, right? So you are getting on this call and you are sitting in a room. That room is a 3D structure.
yes.
Tell me, right? Now assume that there are balloons fixed to a rope which is suspended through the roof, okay, of different sizes thread, okay. Some is of your height, some is less than that, some is more than that, and throughout the room, okay, there are 50 such balls. That is your data points in 3D. How will you generalize it? Can you generalize it with one line?
No.
You have to generalize it through a plane. Now what is a plane? That means you can assume it as a sheet of, let's say plastic sheet, okay, that you use for roof. spreadsheet, right? And you can try to pass it and move it wherever you achieve the minimum error. What is the difference? Only difference is now the error is not between point and line. Now the error is between point and plane. Clear? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Further, if you go ahead, 4D, we cannot, as a human being, we are not able to visualize more than 3D. But in data science term, we call it hyperplane. In 3D, I said you need a plane to generalize. After 3D, for 4D, 5D, 6D, we generalize the name as hyperplane. Understood this point?
Yes.
So you consider it overall as an error. So currently you are finding out the difference between, the distance between a line and a point. At later point, what you will do, let's, I'm bad at drawing. Let me try to. Let's say this is your sheet, which is now the best fit kind of line. I'll not say best fit plane. Okay. Now what will you do? Let's say if there is a point above it. So you will try to find out the distance, right? Now that distance is your error. Got my point?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Cool. So in that way you can perceive the error. Okay. In that way you can perceive the error. Okay. How do you become great? There are two ways. One is become better. That means keep on improving. Yes or no? Become better,
Yes.
and then you can become the best.
Mm.
Another way is to minimize your fault. That means, let's say I used to roam a lot. Now I'll say that today what I'll do is, today I'll just reduce 1 hour of my roaming time and I'll study. Okay, so in that way, that was my fault. I'm still roaming, but what I have done is I am trying to minimize my fault. That is one way. Another way is to becoming best or great is, let's say I was studying, let's say 6 hours. Okay, or let's say if I was doing hands-on for like 2 hours, now I'm saying that now I'll do for 3 hours. This is one way. Bolo na, yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Now these two ways, if you see, one is becoming better is nothing but ordinary least square, which is finding the best fit line, and minimizing the fault, on the other hand, is your gradient descent, which we are going to study. Gradient descent. Okay, here what we are trying to do is minimizing the error, that too stepwise. Here I took the reference that I'm minimizing a fault 1 day at a time. I told myself that today I will go out to roam 1 hour less. I haven't made the, that doesn't mean that at some point of time, I will stop roaming or something like that. Just take it in this way, that I am slowly and steadily minimizing the error every in each step. So that is stepwise. Is it clear? Would you be able to remember this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, come back and then we will go further. At what time should
So,
we come back?
one question, Dhruv. So this OLS is applied only when there is one variable, is it? One X variable. Or
In a way, you can say like OLS is ordinary least square is named for that type of things, but you can still use it for multiple variables, right? So that is called multiple regression, but the concept is same. You understand? Concept is same. I told you.
okay.
So OLS, we now know what is this. It is very straightforward. Someone said that if we had more than one variable, I'll come to that also. That is just an extension of OLX for multiple variable. We call it multiple linear regression, right? Practically, we are going to see multiple linear regression. I'll come to that later, but the concept is same. OLS we have seen. Gradient descent we are going to see, right? It is going to be a mathematical exploration also. So gradient descent. What is gradient? Anyone knows what is gradient? Gradient is nothing but the derivative, right? I said the central concept of any regression algorithm is going to be minimizing the error. Minimize the error. I think the sentence is not correct. So minimize the error, right? Now, since we are getting a bit mature in this particular topic, I won't name it error now. We'll call it cost. If I go one level more mature in this, I'll tell it as cost function. Everything is same. Everything is same. Now, let's say, for example, okay, if I have to increase the revenue, correct? If I have to increase the revenue, and I'm saying that I can do it with decreasing the spend. So what is going to be my cost function? Spend, right? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes, right.
Half of you are sleeping or what? See, this is very important. Concentrate here for a few moments. So what was our SSR? Sum of square residuals. What was it? Summation of y actual minus y predicted. So y predicted, I'll, just for differentiation purpose, I just keep writing it as y hat or y dash. You can use anything square. This is what I want to, this is what I was our SSR.
Yes.
Yes.
So now if I minimize this, that is that my aim or goal will be achieved.
Yes.
Goal, na? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now y is obviously y. What is y bar? Y bar is nothing but, let's say if I'm naming it mx plus c, instead of that I'm just writing it wx plus b. Any confusion in that if I write y bar as wx plus b, where w is the slope and b is the intercept?
No confusion.
No.
Okay. Now can I write the cost function? Cost function, now I'm naming it h theta. Okay. Don't go by the name. This is just for the sake of naming it. Okay. We are calling. So instead of what is the function that we have? Y as it is minus wx plus b.
X plus B square.
Any confusion till here?
No.
So if I expand, if I just remove the brackets, can I write it y minus wx minus b?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry.
Square.
Square.
2 will be
Yes.
whole square, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
So the square again is going to be here. Any
Yeah.
confusion?
Yeah.
Now, if you see, there are 2 points here. One is the slope and one is the intercept, correct? So what I'll do is, in order to minimize this, I have to do two derivations, two derivatives basically. First of all, with respect to my slope, and once with respect to d of h theta, which is nothing but my cost function, with respect to what? My intercept.
Yes.
Because my Cost function is made up of these two things.
Right.
What is the derivative of this with respect to W? So x square derivative, I said 2x. So if just
Right.
assume it to be x, so it is nothing but 2 into x. X is my y minus wx minus b. But we have to also talk about individual. So d of y with respect to w would be 0.
Yes, yes.
D of minus b is going to be what? Again 0.
Yes.
And what is the derivative of minus wx?
W.
W
X
कैसे होगा?
minus
With respect
X,
to
X.
w I'm doing
X, X,
minus of
Minus
x.
X. Yes.
Any confusion here?
No.
So if I write the function, can I write? I just brought minus 2 here. This is y minus wx minus b into x.
Yes.
This is my derivative. Okay. Now similarly, if I do the derivative of my cost function with respect to intercept, then what it will be? Again 2 into y minus wx minus b, right? Correct. And now let's see, go
Yes.
one by one. Y with respect to b would be 0.
Yes,
This with
0.
respect to b would be 0.
0.
This
1.
with respect to b would be 1 or minus 1.
Minus 1.
Correct.
Yes.
So this is my, so if I have to write, can I write minus 2 into y minus wx minus b? Okay, you got this point. These are my two derivatives. Derivatives means now if I have to minimize, find out the minima, I'll equate it with 0. Bolo na? Yes, no.
Yes, yes.
Now I'm just parking this concept here till the time we will code this thing, right? And coding I cannot do. I thought I'll do it today, but we are already ahead of time. So I'm just parking it here and we will start from here tomorrow. But before that, you know, we have to know how gradient descent actually comes and actually find out the minima, right? Here my cost is minimum. If this is the cost, this is maximum here also, here also. This is also not minimum. This is also not minimum. Here it is minimum.
Yes.
Correct. So what I'm saying is how it works. So I'm just explaining you, right, how it works. So it says, you know, the next weight is nothing but old weight or the current weight minus alpha, which is learning rate, into the derivative. What is the derivative? dw, I'm just naming it dw just for the sake of simplicity, and I'm naming it as dv, so that you are able to understand what I'm trying to see. So first of all, I need to know the slope or weight, right? So next weight is going to be old weight minus alpha into derivative, whatever we saw on top. Similarly, if you want to know the next slope, sorry, this was slope, this next intercept, then again old minus learning rate into dv. dv is what? This thing. Is it clear? Now why we are doing this? See, you have to understand. Let's say for starting point, let's say for example, I am saying at starting or at any point, my weight is 1 and my okay. Let's talk about, I'm straightforwardly calculating the next W. That means I have to go in this direction if we are here, and in this direction again if we are here also. You see, we have from any direction we have to come towards wherever my cost is minimum, right? Let's say my current weight is 5. Okay. Now learning rate, you can consider it as step size also. Let's say I have considered very small step size. Step size means, let's say I have tried here. Next step, if I'm taking small, that means I'm trying here. If it is more, then I'm going here. So this particular is called step size or learning rate. Okay, right? And let's say my slope, this is nothing but slope. Derivative gives me slope, right? Slope can be positive or negative. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, or zero. If it gives zero, that means your minimum is that point only. Let's say if it is positive, or let's say let's start from negative. Okay. So negative means any value. Let's assume it to be 0.25. If my slope is negative, in my graph, how will it look like? This direction. This is my negative slope.
Yeah.
This is my positive slope, and this is my zero slope. Everyone knows this.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Slope is tan theta. So tan theta, if it is negative, that means negative slope. Tan theta positive means positive slope. If tan theta is equal to 0 means slope is 0. Okay, we can get anything, but you have to understand, whenever slope is negative means we are talking about any of these points. Okay, now if let's assume even before the equation, if we are anywhere on left of this minimum, in which direction should we move so that we can achieve minimum?
Downward direction.
Downward or negative.
Negative.
Downward direction, or not in downward, you can so downward, let's say if it is like this, so we have to go in this direction. Correct?
Yes.
And let's say if our slope was positive, then what we have to do, we have to come in this direction again. That means my direction is directly proportional or related to, not directly proportional, that was a wrong statement, but my direction of going towards the minimum value is dependent upon what is my slope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct? Because if I'm here, my minimum lies in this direction. If I'm here, my minimum is before this. Okay. So to counter this, we have this sign. I'll tell you how. Let's say my slope is negative. That means I am somewhere here. Correct? So let's see. If my slope is negative, this is already negative in formula. So you know, if this is there, this
Yeah.
will be plus something. How small or how big? This will be 5 plus something. Yes, no?
Right.
That means it is telling me to go ahead in this direction. Yes or no? Down, you may say, or you can say, so there is a translation movement. It is not down also, it is not horizontal also. So in a way, it is telling me to go forward, or my next weight is more than my current weight.
Yes.
On the other hand, let's say if we are somewhere here, so my direction should be less than, I mean, my next weight should be less than the previous, so that I can again achieve the minimum. Bolo na? Yes, no?
Yes.
Now let's say what changed? This is same, current is same, this sign is same, my learning rate is same. What changed? This value. That means my current slope, let's say if it is positive, right? So if you see, your next will be 5 minus something. That means it is telling you that the next value is less than the current value.
Yes.
So is not it regulating the direction in which you should go in order to achieve the minimum?
Right. It is.
So in a way, if you have to generalize, negative slopes gives what? Forward direction. Don't remember it, but this is what is the concept, right? So, and positive slope tells me backward direction. Correct or wrong? So for both, weight and intercept, whenever I am trying to find out the minimum, I can use the same formula, which is this current weight minus alpha, which is learning rate, into dW. Now you will ask me, Dhruv, if I increase or decrease the alpha, what will happen? See, if you increase the alpha, your next here will be, you will skip more. Let's say you will, from here, if you have more step size larger, the next value would be here. Let's say again, next value will be here. Some point you may skip the minimum and go towards again maximum. At this point, if my step size is this much, right? So I can skip the minimum.
Yeah. Yes.
Correct?
Right.
See, it is fine. Again, they will tell me that, okay, this is the direction you have to go backward to achieve. But again, since my step size is more, I can again achieve. So it will keep on oscillating between these two.
Yes.
So I have to at some point decrease the alpha.
Yeah.
Or I have to keep the step size small enough so that it doesn't overshoot my minimum. Got my point?
Yes.
On the other hand, let's say if I choose alpha very small, what will happen? To reach from this point to minimum, it will take
Multiple.
hours.
Yeah.
Correct? So an optimum value of learning rate is required. Understood? This point is clear?
Yes.
So my gradient descent is based on this point. Do you want me to quickly, do we have time so that I can quickly code and show you how this thing works?
Yes.
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 Okay. So let me use, okay, Python 3 notebook. Okay, let me go through it. Whatever concepts we have just now studied, everything I'll be using the same. Okay, you have to bear with me. Everything I'm going to use is same. And I'll use only one library, right? NumPy. Nothing else. Okay. Now what I'm doing is, I'm just defining a function called, let's say, gradient descent. Correct? This is how you define the function. All of you know?
Yes.
Yes.
I haven't, for now, I haven't specified what are the parameters. I'll do it later. Okay. Let's first of all, let's say that we have coefficients and we have what? Intercepts. So y is equal to mx plus c. Let's initialize them to be 0. C is equal to 0. Okay. And learning rate, right? So this is the name of, okay. Now what I need to do, I need to run it, okay, run it in iterations so that we are able to achieve iterations we need, right? Because next, first of all, what is the current value of W? What is the current value of my C or B? Means my current value of intercept and my current value of slope.
Yes.
For next value, I need to again run,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So let's say I want to specify how many times I want to run, right? So let's say I'm telling that for I in range, I'm saying iterations.
Or I in range, right?
That is what I have written.
You missed in.
Okay, acha, ठीक है. Thank you. So let's say iterations, I'm defining as, let's say, 100. Okay, done. Now I'm saying that in 100 iteration, whatever is going to be, see, I have to see the time complexity also. I cannot keep on finding the minimum value of SSR in 1 lakh iteration. That will be time consuming. So it is up to you. Let's say tomorrow I need to increase the iteration. I can increase it to 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh. So that is the reason I have made it a variable. You can change it accordingly. If it is not going to the minimum value. Okay.
So how do we decide on the iteration, Dhruv? What is the
So
criteria?
iterations means, see, that means let's say my next value of W will be current value minus alpha into the slope, correct?
Yes.
Once you find out the next value, that means that is one iteration. Again, you will find out the next value. You are constantly moving towards the minimum. If you don't overshoot, you will be close to minimum. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if you, let's say, if you stop in 50 iteration and you did not reach the minimum, then obviously you have to increase the iterations. So there is no hard and fast rule of what should be the value of iteration. It can range anything between 5, 10, 50, 1 lakh also, 10 lakh also. It depends upon you. That is the reason we have made it a variable. In how many iterations I'll get the minimum, I don't know. Let's see. Clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
Bolo, yes, no.
Yes, yes.
So now what I'm saying is, now I have to define what y predicted. Now what is y predicted? Simple. Y is equal to m into x plus c. Any confusion till here?
No.
Okay. Now there are three things, right? There are three things. First of all, what is my cost function? Y minus y predicted. Y minus y predicted whole square, summation of that, right? So can I write sum? How will I write? Okay, I'll use the list comprehension. Correct? So that is well. So we have to do square, right? So well square. Well square for well in what? Y minus y underscore predicted. अरे अंडरस्कोर नहीं है ना, ओके और ये भी कैप्स हो गया, सो just हाँ y minus y predicted. Clear? You all of you should know why I have written this. Anyone still has any confusion?
No.
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 If you have, you seriously.
Y predicted is just a variable, right? It is not a list.
Sorry.
Y predicted
Huh.
is just a number, no?
Huh. So
Okay. Got it.
what is the problem?
I got it.
Okay. Now again, this is, I am just writing just for the sake of the name. I cannot write dh theta upon dm and dh theta upon dc, something like that. Okay. So I'm just writing it in short, dm and dc. Any doubt in there? How will I write? That is sum of what was okay. Just give me a moment. This is the value, correct? So dw is nothing but minus 2 of my y minus y predicted into x, correct? So sum of, or you can say minus 2, right? Minus 2 into sum of what? X into y minus y underscore predicted. This is what is my dm.
Yes.
What is my dc? So if I go back to our sheet, what is my dc? Dc is nothing but db. Here we have used dw and db. There we are using dm and dc. So just the naming convention. Okay, no need to get confused. So this is minus 2 into y minus y predicted. Any confusion?
No.
Okay, so minus 2 into sum of, I think we need to do this thing. sum of y minus y underscore predicted. Okay, now I have written the cost, I have written the DM, and I have written the DC. From where DM and DC has come, we have already derived it from the cost. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And now what I'll write, my next value of M is nothing but my old M minus learning rate into what?
Slope.
DM. Similarly, my C is C minus learning rate into DC. Is it clear?
Yes.
Everything is on your screen. One thing, very important thing that we are missing is we are not normalizing it. Normalizing means we have to divide while we are coding. Now, conceptually it is not so important, but while coding, you need to normalize it. Normalize means you have to divide it with the total number of points that we are considering. Okay, and or you can say, let's say n is equal to nothing but length of x. Okay, and so what I'll do is I'll divide everything by the length, 1 by n. Okay, so similarly यहाँ पे multiplication. Okay, here also I'm dividing by n, and here also I'm dividing by n. If you don't do this, it will not converge. It will show infinity at some point of time or undefined. I'll show that if we get time today, or even you can do that. Okay, you can remove the n. Okay, remove the n from this formula and you can try. It will not converge. Okay, so that is the problem. Now what I have to do, everything is done. I have to run the iteration as many times I want. And yes, very important thing, I have to print, right? Otherwise how will I come to know? So what all the things that I need to print, right? So slope is equal to, I have to print correct. What else we need to predict? What else we need to show? Intercept, right? So intercept is equal to slope intercept iterations, right? So iteration is equal to, we have done, right? And anything else we need? I don't think so. So dot format, and what all things we have just specified. Slope is M, intercept is C, and iteration is nothing but I. Correct?
Right.
I. Okay. If I am not wrong, it is done. Okay, we'll see. Now, sorry.
We need to pass y, right?
Why?
We have not defined y. We have.
We'll come to that. I'm coming to that. Printing y. Okay, we'll see. Wait. Obviously, we need to give x also, right? Not only y.
Yeah, right.
So NumPy I have used. So NumPy, I'm just giving one array, right? NumPy array I'm making, and let's say I'm giving the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, clear? Now why I am giving as again. Okay, copy. Let me randomly give again some values. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 11, 13, like that. Okay. Now what is the next thing that I need to do? I need to pass this for x and y. I have to
pass the
parameters that I did not do at the starting. Correct. Now this looks complete. Okay, last thing, I have to call the function, right? GRADI layer gradient underscore, and again I have to call the function using xy. Okay, can we go ahead and run this now?
Yes.
So should be fine. Yes, in one time it run. Okay, this is fine. Okay. Okay. Acha, we missed one very important thing. Can someone tell me what we have missed here? Cost. That is what we need. We are minimizing, right? So unless we won't see the cost, we won't be able to, conceptualize format MCI and cost, right? Okay. See, in the first iteration, just assume that this is not 0. This is first iteration. This is second. This is third, like that. Okay. So as long as my iteration is increasing, first of all, let's look at the slope. Let's look at the cost. Cost is 80 at the first place, right? Again, cost has decreased to 3.61. Again, it decreased to 1.04. After that, it decreased. Again, it decreased. Again, it decreased. See, it is decreasing. If we see, it is decreasing, slow decrease. After a certain time, it is going to be slow. Let's do it. Let's say 500. Okay, let's say 500. We don't have that much time, so let's do 500. Now it will try for 500 times. So if you see, what is the cost? Okay, now it has reached to 0.62. Let's say 1000. Okay, let's say 1000. Okay, and now if it is still 0.62, that means that is the maximum. Okay, or that is the limit. I don't want to go further. Why? Because even after increasing it, we are not reaching. Okay, let's do 5000. You're understanding what I'm trying to do?
Yes.
What all parameters we can tweak? See, it is happening, right? Now it is done. So if let's quickly go down and see what is the final cost even after 500. See, it is almost constant. That doesn't mean that all these costs are equal. It is just that till this decimal point it is equal. After this there would be change. Correct? Now just see, this is a 5000th iteration, right? And it is coming on 62. 0.62 is coming on right from around, see, around how many iterations? See here. Acha, see here. If you see, it is oscillating from this should be the minimum. Yes or no?
Yeah.
That means our our learning rate is bit more and it is overshooting. But
Yes.
is it fine? Because it is overshooting very little. Again, if you want to decrease or increase the learning rate, you know the consequence, right?
Right.
If I decrease the learning rate, what will happen? My step size is going to be very low, right? Very small. And then the time to converge will take more time. So now if I'll go there and see, it will still reach, but it is not, it has still not reached the last time's minimum. Correct? 0.620004 was there. Correct? Here it has reached. Correct? So you can see it is taking some time. So you can tweak it. So the crux of the matter is now what is the crux of the matter? Let's say the minimum cost I got, I will get the slope for that particular corresponding to that cost, minimum cost, and I'll also get the intercept. After I got the slope and after I got the intercept, is it tough for me to build a line or draw a line?
No.
No.
Once I have drawn the line, then if I give you the value of x, is it tough for you to give me the value of y?
No.
You will just apply the formula y is equal to mx plus c. Correct?
Right.
Now, instead of x, if it is time dependent, I'll give you the month. You will give me the value of stock at that particular month, that particular year. Understood? Yes, no to bolo.
No.
Yes.
Same way, right? In the same way, we have to. We can.
Same way, correct? Same way. I'm just telling you, x means or is not going to be always x. X means some variable would be there. The moment I associated with a real life example, you are not able to understand. What is difference in that?
Okay, month on month stock price. Okay, good.
So let's say sales is dependent upon a variable. So sales will be your y. And that value on which it is dependent will be your x. If I give you the dependent value, sorry, if I give you the independent value, which is x, for which sales is dependent, you can give me y or sales. Yes or no?
Right.
Yes.
So this is a very simple demonstration of how the things work. Correct? You can tweak the values and you can get to know. Okay. One more thing. Now comes my part. Okay. One very quick assignment. All you have to do is plot cost function versus. So you have cost function for each iteration. Yes, no.
Yes, yes.
So see, I'm just giving you a hint what I want. Let's say this is my cost and this is my iteration. So let's say when iteration was starting, let's say it was 0, then your cost was something 80 or something. If I'm failing to recall some value. Okay. As the iteration increases, it is reducing, something like going like this. Okay. And it becomes almost constant when at 0.62. You have to plot this using Python. Can you do that?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is today's assignment. Okay.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Right.
Yes.
Ordinary least square or multiple linear regression, we are going to talk about it tomorrow. I mean, I'll be talking about it from the coding perspective. Tomorrow we'll code for that. Okay. For now, you should be able to understand this. What is learning rate? Iteration is just a word. Okay. Iteration is, you can, even if you use the word cycle, but iteration is mostly used. Okay. What is M? What is C? What is cost function? What is DM? What we have said here, how we achieved that? What is DC, right? What is the next function? So here, how we got the next M from my existing M, correct? All those things you should be able to explain. We have gone into the depth and then only we have touched the Python code. Is it fine for you?
Yes.
Chota sa hi hai na, it is very small, right? Now see, gradient descent, you don't have to code any time. Okay, this is just for the concept. What you will use? You will use linear regression or ordinary least square or multiple linear regression using sklearn. That we are coming to on next. Stats model sklearn, mostly sklearn. But tomorrow we will be seeing 3 methods in which first of all we'll use stats model module. We'll use sklearn also, and we will try to do manually also. Correct?
Okay.
Now you can tell anyone what is gradient descent, because I am tired of people. Whenever I ask this question in interviews, I used to ask people start drawing this line, and they are not able to explain properly. You should be able to explain and code as well. It is very simple. Can I expect that after this class?
Yes.
See, if a guy like me can code in one time and I am getting no error, you should do wonders. I'm telling you, because I'm also doing in R and I always get confused. Okay, so it is that simple. Clear? Okay, last point. Before we end today's call. Okay, some people had a confusion how a multiple linear regression looks like. Multiple linear means, let's say if we just spoke about the stock price, correct? Stock price. Let's say how it looks like in the terms of multiple linear regression, right? Let's say if we are talking about, tell me a name of a company, any company, good company. Jaldi.
Accenture.
Coffee day.
Sure. You work for Accenture?
No.
Okay, this is my old company. I used to work here. Okay, now I'm talking about, let's say we are talking about stock of Accenture, and let's say in stock we use a short name like ACC. Let's say I'm talking about ACC or ACCY. Okay, ACC is a cement company's name. Now ACCY, I'm just naming it. Okay, now let's say that there is a linear equation. Linear equation means equation of a line, right? Linear equation which I want to predict the value of the current stock, and let's say it is dependent upon multiple value. So why the stock price of Accenture is dependent upon, let's say X1, X2, X3, X4, multiple things, right? Let's say multiple things. What is that? Let's say interest rates, may or may not, but I'm just giving you one idea, right? Let's say, what do you say? What is the GDP? Let's say GDP of a country or US, something like that. Okay, value of Nifty 50, right? Something like that. Nifty 50 index. Don't go in depth of why I'm writing this. I'm just giving you a concept of if we have more than one variable, right? And spend of Accenture on advertisement, something like that. These are the four things in which the stock price of Accenture will depend. Okay. So how will I write? How will I write a function in which I can show that this is a multiple linear regression, right? So I can write it y is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3 plus beta 4 x4. So instead of writing b naught here, you can write it last. This is nothing but intercept, right? This is slope with respect to the first variable. This is slope with respect to the second variable, again third, again fourth. There can be n variables.
Okay.
Understood?
Yeah.
So that is called MLR, multiple linear regression. Why? Because there are more than one variable, multiple variables are there. Concept, everything is same. Concept is same as we studied in ordinary least square. The only difference is here you have one intercept, but multiple what? Slopes.
Multiple slopes.
Slope with respect to each variable. Because you see.
Yeah, correct.
Slope with respect to x1 will tell me how x1 is related to y independently. Understood?
Yeah.
Getting a picture of that?
Yes.
Lots of good things or lots of interesting things that we are going to study again in the next class. Tomorrow we are left with multiple things, right? We are going to see the error matrix in more details. We'll take an example and we'll see. We'll name it. For now, we were just telling it square, and absolute. We are going to name it error matrix. Then we are going to see how we should evaluate the regression model, right? And we'll tell you the strategies in which you should be working in real time while you are evaluating your model. Once we have done that, we will theoretically look at some aspects so that you are able to clear the interviews also when asked from this particular thing. And then at last, or in between also, I'll try to code it for multiple linear regression and using multiple variables. Okay, very small data set we'll take and we'll do. Okay, what is the time? Is it interesting? Are you guys finding it interesting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Acha, are you guys also attending the project session? Anyone of you attended?
I did.
You did. What was the project that was taught?
Basically for credit risk, for using lending something. The data was from lending.
Which machine learning model they used?
They used regression.
Regression only, right?
Yeah.
So now, are you going? Are you able to get the basics after today's class and able
Yes,
to relate it?
I'm
with
able
the-
to relate it with what I saw in the session.
Okay. I wanted to tell that please wait for today's class, but then I thought that there are two ways of learning. One way is, in some books you might be looking at that at the starting of the book they give questions. They do? Yes, no? How many of you have seen this? At the starting of the chapter they will give you 10-15 questions.
Yes, and then they answer.
And
that
then
one.
not that they answer, but it gives you the perspective on what are the things that you need to stress into when you are learning that particular concept, right? So I thought that let all the people, I saw that messages. Now see, in parallel, project session would be going on. So would be I would be teaching you here the concepts, and parallelly you have to do project session also. No need to leave anyone. Everyone will attend that session. Whether sometimes they will do some classification concept, hustle through it, right? You will face some difficulty, but you will get to learn a lot from it. Okay, I know it is a bit tough to attend in the weekdays, but you have to do. Okay, with that I am going to end today's session. Okay, and you guys can leave. Just okay, let me quickly